Hi everybody, this is Dr. John Meese and I'm here to make a video on the 5 biggest hiring mistakes that I see dental practices make. I have some questions for you. Have you ever been unable to fill a position in a reasonable amount of time? Do some of your new employees seem to start out very well and then fade? Have you ever had a new employee who looked great on paper but who just didn't perform in your practice? Do you, doctor, personally do any of this hiring process? Well, if any of those are yes for you, these are all symptoms that you're making one of the top 5 hiring mistakes. So let's dig into the hiring mistakes. Hiring mistake number 1 doesn't really sound like a hiring mistake, but it is, and I'll show you how. The mistake is not having a clear vision for your practice. Now let me tell you about a practice that made this mistake. As a matter of fact, it's my own practice. Early on, I had a desire to see my practice grow, but I didn't really have a clearly defined and effectively communicated vision. You see, having this clear vision allows you to filter every decision you make on whether that decision will take you closer to or further away from your vision. So here I was making hiring decisions not based on this vision of growth, but on a desire to lower overhead. Now, I didn't understand in those days that the best way to reduce overhead is to produce and collect more, which could be the topic of another video. But here I was making this decision based on a desire to reduce overhead when my vision was really to grow the practice. So because I had this decision to reduce overhead, I was going to err on the side of too few employees rather than too many. Now, if you're going to have growth, you're going to need more employees. So I was erring on the opposite side of my vision. Very, very simple. My lack of vision, clearly written, clearly communicated to my team, was strangling my practice. Now, mistake number 2 is having no clearly defined role for a new employee. I see this happen all the time. Very, very few practices I deal with have written job descriptions for employees. Even fewer have a clearly defined role for the new employee that matches the new employee's skills and experience level. This mistake looks like this in a practice. You have one employee leave, she's locating out of town. She's been in her position for many, many years and wears many hats in the practice. Supplies, lab work, complex temporaries, whatever it is. They have many roles. Her replacement is hired and is expected to fill all the roles of her predecessor. And while she does have good skills and good qualities, she may not have experience in all of those roles. And as she's expected to fill those roles with no training process, she is absolutely destined to fail. And she begins to fail by becoming disinterested, becoming not as motivated, and not as initiative-taking as she could have been. So mistake number 3 is not having a systematic, objective way to pick the best candidate. Now, left to their own devices, doctors tend to hire people they like or people that make them feel good. This candidate may or may not have the best qualities to do the job. So having a process that uses objective means will produce a much better hire than doctors that use this subjective gut feel. So common, so easy, it's what we naturally do intuitively. But having this objective method is the key ingredient to getting the team in charge of hiring. Now, mistake number 4 is have a doctor performing the hiring process. I can tell you that a well-trained team member using an objective hiring system will do a better job than a doctor going by gut feel any day. Plus, this saves hours and hours and hours of the doctor's time that can be used for driving up production, which drives up collection. Mistake number 5 is having an untrained team member perform the hiring. Now, we all know that our world becomes more litigious by the day. Federal and state laws meant to protect people from unfair hiring practices were enacted. So now these rules, if not carefully followed, can result in fines, in litigation, and the very bad press that goes along with all that. The key is to have a well-trained, trusted team member capable of both hiring and, if it should be necessary, releasing employees. So I hope you have found this video helpful. This is Dr. John Meese, and I hope to see you soon. Thanks a lot.